In order to start scratch spriting, all you need is a blank MS Paint file. However, if you're making something like a sprite for a Pokemon game, you're gonna need a border like you see up there. No, that black square up in the top left corner. You need this so that your sprite fits in the game. For example, you couldn't fit a sprite that's 300 pixels by 300 pixels in something like a Pokemon Red, Blue, or Yellow. For Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, and Crystal, the sprite size limit is 56 pixels by 56 pixels. For Generation 3 games, which is pretty much just Pokemon Fire Red, Pokemon Leaf Green, Pokemon Ruby, Pokemon Sapphire, and Pokemon Emerald, the sprite size limit is 64 by 64 pixels. For Generation 4 Pokemon games, which are Pokemon Diamond, Pokemon Pearl, Pokemon Platinum, Pokemon Heart Gold, and Pokemon Soul Silver, the sprite size limit is 80 pixels by 80 pixels. For Generation 5 games, which are Pokemon Black, Pokemon Black 2, Pokemon White, and Pokemon White 2, the sprite size limit is 96 pixels by 96 pixels. You gotta make sure you set up the border if you're making a sprite for a fake Pokemon game, because you don't want your sprite to be too big nor too small. Anyways, now that we have all the things that we need to start scratch spriting, we can just zoom in so that we have a better view of it. So what I've decided to do is select a really light color, like a light gray, and then just start scratching out the outline like you see on the screen right now. This is just to get a general idea of how the outline is going to be like for your sprite. You may see how bold the outline is right now. Well, it's not going to stay like that for the whole time. It's just a rough draft. Just a tip when making Pokemon sprites, you want to make sure that everything is proportional. Like you see the legs, they fit on the robot thing that I'm making. They're not too big nor are they too small. Or perhaps they are too small, but I see them as just right. Just whatever you think is proportional enough for the sprites that you are currently making. You may have to resize a few things like I just did for the arm or hand, because, well, it doesn't really have any arms. Also, when you're doing tiny details such as that, you may want to have a really thin outline, just so you can tell apart the different parts of the feature that you're making. Which in this case, for me, is the robotic hands. See, there's a lot of details on it, and there's a lot of details on the robot too, as you may notice. Don't be afraid to redo something if you think something looks wrong. That's perfectly normal. Once you are done with the rough draft, you can just copy and paste it, put it somewhere else, and then start with the final draft of the outline. You're going to want to go over it with a black outline, and this is why I suggested using like a light gray for scratching it out with in the rough draft, so that you can see your black outline very easily. As you can see, it sticks out very well with the sprite. Now, unlike the rough draft parts, you really do want to have the outlines as thin as you can possibly have them to be. The outlines that you're going to be making are going to be the ones that people will see if you show this to other people. So you want to make this as nice and proportional as possible. Also, when making the final outline parts, you want to make sure that they don't really not a lot of things touch. Like for example, two lines that are right next to each other with no space in between them. It just doesn't work. It just looks really ugly. I mean, for the top right up there on the robot's head, it works because it's supposed to be like a hole on the robot's head. But if you're not doing something like that, then you should consider changing it. I know it may seem like I'm contradicting what I'm just saying, because on the left leg, the outline is sort of like that. Well, this is because I'm going to add in another part of the leg. It will be in a different color. Things like that are just fine, except it may be confusing, so only do this sometimes. Also, don't be afraid to, when you're doing the final outline, don't be afraid to make some changes, such as, well, don't be afraid to make some changes, such as, well, adding a new feature or getting rid of an old feature and replacing it with a new one. Or just getting rid of one entirely. Anything like that, it's okay to do. I mean, it may take some extra time to do so, but it should work out. And, well, you see me changing the outline because, as I said, I don't really like it when the outlines touch. So I try to, space it out as much as I can without making it look odd. Once you are done with the outline, what you're gonna do is copy and paste it down where it was. And then to get rid of the gray outline parts, you're going to right-click the gray outline and then copy and paste the same sprite so that all of that outline stuff is gone. That, or you could left-click the gray outline and then right-click the white and then go over it with the eraser. Now what you saw there, just me getting the Pokemon, well, that is just so that I could use some colors. What you're gonna do is right-click the color you want to have, and then put it down. You see I'm making a table out of it. That's a very good idea to do, so that you can get all the shades down, and you're not gonna have to search throughout the whole Sprites to get it. Another way to get colors is to go to Edit Colors, and then go to Define Custom Colors, and then select your own color. Note that in order to select the right color, you're going to have to go into the color toolbar place, with all the color palettes. Select the color you want, and then make any shade of it, by going into Define Custom Colors, and then Edit Colors, and then Define Custom Colors, and then change it to whatever you want. And then using that. That's how you get the colors that you want, and all the shades that you need for it. Now what you're going to do is just the same as you would do if had you been using the Pokemon colors. You're going to make a little table out of it. as you can see on screen, there's the little table with all of the shades of the colors that I'm going to be using from lightest to darkest. Again, it's important that you order them like this so that it's easy to get to. You don't have to go searching through it to see which is the lightest shading, which is the darkest. Now I'm just going to stick with the Pokemon, try out the Pokemon colors just to see how that would work. You should probably try both glaze, both the Pokemon and the custom colors, because you may find that one table of colors is going to work better than the other. After you fill in the colors, I'm going to just try out different colors just to see how it would work. And then I find out that the colors there look much better than the Pokemon colors, at least in my opinion, so I just stick with that. Now before you start coloring in and shading, you just fill in everything with the right colors, and then you start shading. For tips on shading, just go to my shading tutorial, because I have a shading tutorial on such a topic like this. So pretty much what you want to do is, all you have to do at this point is just shade everything. Make some color changes along the way in case you need to do such. And then you're pretty much done. I'm just gonna speed through this because it'll take a really long time to do this. It's over half of the video, in fact. It would be had I not sped this up. And after that long bit of shading, we are finally finished with our new sprites. I hope this helped a lot of people, because, well, that was the intention of making this video. Happy spriting!